At the beginning, everything happens in the present. The world opens its eyes, a screen flickers, the first noise bites the silence, and an invisible current drags the mind like a leaf in a river. The body rises, but the heart stays behind. The day is already lost before it is born. And yet, in the midst of the noise, an ancient teaching leans in and whispers, "There are doors you must not open upon waking." 15 habits, as ordinary as tap water, disconnect your energy and separate you from yourself. You avoid those doors, you breathe, you place your foot with awareness, and the day changes owner. It returns to you. That is the story, in the present. It is born in the city, but its root is millenary. Today you do not open those doors. Today you choose a different dawn. The first hour is the mold of the day. What happens upon waking installs rhythms, desires, and biases that will guide your most intimate decision as much as your most public gesture. Buddhist practice understands that first light as a threshold. To cross it in ignorance is to make a pact with suffering. To cross it with lucidity is to sow freedom. This is not about superstitions, but about causes and effects. Tiny actions that repeated form character, and characters that accumulated build destinies. That is why these 15 renunciations are not whims. They are keys to recover your energy, your attention, and your compassion in a world that buys them cheap. The night still vibrates in the cables. The city breathes dust and promises. You awaken, and in the palm of your hand, the weapon and the altar, attention. At this hour, the common enemy wears many names: anxiety, hurry, comparison, easy dopamine. It dresses as notification, sounds like an alarm, smells like poorly drunk coffee. But today you walk differently. Today you walk knowing that every step has a cost and a grace. First door not to open, waking up shot out by a jolt. The scream of an aggressive alarm turns the first heartbeat into flight. The frightened body learns to live on the defensive. The day is born as a race with no starting line. The mind, pushed, bites. In Buddhist practice, the first gesture matters, a gentle sound, a rhythm that invites and does not expel. Avoid striking your system with stridency. Allow waking to happen like a tide, not an explosion. Replace that jolt with a kind tone, a discreet bell, a light that grows. Let the first thing you hear be not an order, but a calling. Second door not to open, looking at the screen before the sky. Turning on the phone immediately diffuses your life into 1,000 windows, and you get lost in all of them. Attention shatters into triangles of light. News, messages, comparison, tiny needles stealing your energy. The Dharma invites you to first look at what does not shout: your breath, the clarity of the room, perhaps the murmur of birds on wires and balconies. Do not start the day in someone else's house. Start in your own. Leave the phone aside until the mind takes its seat. Third door not to open. Jumping out of bed as if stepping on fire. That impulse teaches the heart to live in a rush. Getting up without inhabiting the body is to abandon a temple just opened. Sit for a moment. Feel the weight of your feet touch the floor. Give thanks, not as a formula, but as contact. I am alive. There is breath. There is a path. Energy is not gasoline to be burned. It is water to be conducted. Conduct, do not ignite. Fourth door, not to open. Hitting snooze again and again. Brief gratification is an elegant betrayal. It teaches the mind to defeat commitment with crumbs of guilty sleep. Buddhism proposes dignity in the first act. When the bell rings, you rise. It is training in freedom. Sliding over and over is not rest. It is slow surrender. Get up at the first, calmly and firmly, like one who accepts a vow. Fifth door, not to open, starting the day with thoughts of debt. The endless list, self-condemnation, the inventory of to-dos as if you carried a backpack of stones from minute one. The mind becomes the accountant of disaster. Hold another scale. Name 3 small things to care for today. It is not a war list. It is a line of sowing. The common enemy is the belief that you are worth what you produce. You are worth your awakened awareness, and from there you produce differently. Sixth door not to open, entering the judgment of the mirror. Looking at yourself as soon as you wake to confirm what you fear. Dark circles, wrinkles, insufficiencies. The mirror. As tribunal tires the soul before dressing it, practice a different greeting. Wash your face as a sacred bowl is washed. Feel the water, feel the temperature, feel the skin. If you look, look with compassion. This is the house where your attention dwells. Do not insult it at dawn. Seventh door not to open, drinking anxiety in a cup. Coffee on an empty stomach as a whip. It is not that coffee is the enemy is the use, drinking to cover fatigue instead of understanding it. First, water. Let the body wake like a garden washed by rain. If later you choose coffee, let it be for pleasure, not for fear. In monasteries, the first drink is simple, an invitation to clarity, not a race to a false summit. Eighth door not to open, eating distraction. Breakfast with screens, with headlines that promise fire, with videos that drip dopamine. The mouth chews, the mind flees, energy is left orphaned. Breakfast present, even if it is bread with fruit, let the bite have a biography. Flavor is a bridge to the real. Cross that bridge without the headphones of oblivion. Ninth door not to open, opening the door of comparison. Immediately checking how the world wakes. The perfect photo, someone else's achievement, the edited life. You begin the day living on loan. Comparison is a thief who works at dawn. Instead, recognize your uniqueness as a garden with its own season. Your spring does not follow the neighbor's calendar. Buddhist wisdom says it without adornment. There is nothing to envy when you know your own mind. Train that knowing, especially in the first hour. 10th door not to open, speaking to yourself with violence. The inner voice can be an instructor or a jailer. In the morning, that voice programs the day's radio. If it begins by insulting you, you will hear noise till night. Change the script, direct with firm tenderness. It is not about empty praise, but about true reminders. Today, I walk with attention. Today, I do not lend myself to panic. Today, I honor my body. Today, I respond instead of reacting. Energy follows the word. Choose words that uphold. 11th door, not to open. Dressing for the wrong battle. Uncomfortable clothes, colors that do not accompany. Aesthetic decisions by mandate and not by presence. Your body becomes a hostile place. Dress as one who blesses a journey. Let the fabric not wound, let the weight not tire. It is not frivolity, it is respect for the instrument with which you cross the day. Attention flourishes where there is care. 12th door not to open, running without having touched the ground, going out into the street before inhabiting the breath. It is traveling without a map. Dedicate a few minutes to the oldest anchor, inhaling and exhaling with awareness. You do not need an expensive altar, you need enough silence to hear yourself. 3, 5, 10 steady breaths. With each exhale, return what does not belong to you. With each inhale, gather what does. 13th door not to open, turning the shower into a race. The water falls, and you do not feel it. The mind writes emails under the rain. Transform that act into a rite. Water is not a formality, it is a renewal. Feel how it touches the nape, how it awakens the back, how it cleans haste. Small ceremonies give greatness to the everyday. Energy is charged in rituals, not in feats. 14th door not to open, promising yourself that today will be different without concrete pacts. Abstract hope is sweet and sterile. You need a firm gesture, a small, doable, visible vow. Today, I will not turn on the screen for the first 20 minutes. Today, I drink water before caffeine. Today, I walk 3 blocks in silence before speaking to the world. Freedom is not a wish, it is a training. 15th door not to open, going out into the world without offering the mind. I do not speak of a foreign prayer, but of an intimate offering. May what I think, say, and do serve to lessen harm. That intention, at dawn, organizes energy. It does not eliminate chaos, but it gives you a floor, and a floor in a city that trembles is a miracle. Here the enumeration ends and the sowing begins, because avoiding 15 doors is not a manual of prohibitions, but an opportunity for construction. What is built? A threshold is built, and every threshold has two faces, what you leave out and what you choose to let in. You choose to let in brief silence. Even in the city it exists. It is the silence between two engines, between two horns, between two messages. The mind fits there. It sits there. It remembers there. It remembers that practice is not an exotic Eastern curiosity, but a daily craft. Observe, understand, release. You choose to let in posture. Your spine is a torch. If you bend it, the flame goes out. If you hold it, the light arranges itself. Sitting for a few minutes upon waking is not a loss. It is an investment. Imagine a taut cord running from your brow to your navel, with no painful tension, only kind verticality. That thread ties you to the real. You choose to let in minimal speech. Before speaking to the world, you speak to yourself in a few true phrases. Not a grand monologue, but a compass. Today I walk with patience. Today I observe before I respond. Today I remember that all suffer. You do not say it for sanctity, you say it because it is true. And truths repeated with love tune the energy. You choose to let in the gesture of care. You open the window and let light in. You make the bed not to satisfy a standard, but to order the mind. You water a plant and that act says, I can nourish. In Buddhism, compassion is not only emotion, it is action. It begins with a made bed, a glass of water, a door closed with care. You choose to let in food that does not take your clarity. This is not about trendy diets, but about listening to the obvious. Ultra-processed early leaves a haze. The simple gives an edge. If you choose sweetness, let it be fruit. If you choose fat, let it be noble. If you choose bread, let it be real bread. The mind is grateful. You choose to let in a question without a question mark, more like an orientation. What can I ease today? You do not need punctuation if you carry it in your blood. Perhaps it is answering without acid, giving up your seat, writing with honesty, not spreading an entertaining lie. That orientation pours out energy instead of draining it. You choose to let in the art of stopping. 2 stops change a day, one when you wake, another before you plunge into the first task. They are pauses that are not announced. They are made. In them, the enemy loses ground. You choose to let in the memory that others wake with fear, perhaps next door, perhaps on another continent. Holding that in your chest makes you humble. Humility is a silent battery. It does not consume, it sustains. Some say modern life does not allow it, but that is a story we tell ourselves to avoid negotiating with ourselves. In truth, modern life has another character, you. And you can move 3 stones at dawn, so the river flows differently. You do not need to abandon the city. You need to let a small monastery be born within your habits. Listen to the city. The traffic light flickers. A neighbor drags a chair. Someone opens a gate and the iron sings. In that rough concert, you place a clear note. Attention. It does not demand silence to exist. It creates it. It does not demand perfection. It walks with your clumsiness. Every morning on this channel, we repeat the same thing with new words. Freedom is trained in the small. Now the late revelation you already suspect. These 15 things you must not do upon waking are not external commandments. They are internal strategies to protect your energy, that finite source that decides the color of your day. If you waste it on notifications, comparisons, judgments, and haste, you feed the common enemy. If you guard it with silence, breathing, simple gestures and small vows, you change the system from the inside. It is not magic, it is practice. You may wonder whether one morning is enough. It is not. But one different morning breaks a pattern, and a broken pattern opens the door to another. Habit is a hungry god. It feeds on repetition. If you stop giving it what fattens it, it grows thin. And when it grows thin, you see the horizon again. The city then is no longer your executioner, it is your dojo. The traffic light teaches patience, the line teaches equanimity, the street vendor teaches gratitude, and all because you chose not to begin the day as a hostage. Let us name them again, not as a list, but as a creed of renunciation. I renounce the jolt. I renounce the screen before myself. I renounce fleeing from the bed. I renounce the trap of snoozing. I renounce poisoning my mind with imaginary debts. I renounce the tribunal of the mirror. I renounce caffeine as an alibi. I renounce eating without being present. I renounce measuring myself against edited lives. I renounce violence in my words to myself. I renounce armor that hurts me. I renounce walking without breathing. I renounce showering without feeling. I renounce promises without pacts. I renounce forgetting my intention. And now, I affirm, I choose a waking that returns me to center. I choose to begin by honoring the breath. I choose to drink clear water. I choose words that do not break in the mouth. I choose gestures that add. I choose to wear gentle dignity. I choose less screen and more sky. I choose a shower that also washes my thoughts. I choose small pacts that sustain. I choose an intention that serves. There are clumsy mornings. You will stumble. You will turn on the phone too soon. You will run without breathing. You will say something you did not mean. Do not punish yourself. Return. The path is not a straight line. It is a spiral that returns to the center again and again. Every return also trains. Imagine the day as a blank page handed to you with a single condition. Your first stroke defines the style of the following ones. It does not dictate the content, but it sets the pulse. If the first stroke is a scribble of panic, the next will have to correct it with effort. If the first stroke is steady and calm, the others will flow with less friction. These morning renunciations are born to protect that first stroke. There is also tenderness for others in your home, waking without shouting, moving as one who inhabits a library, offering a cup without asking for anything. The energy you guard in yourself is shared. Buddhist practice is not a private gymnastics, it is a public gift. The city changes when a few people cross the threshold with awareness. No sermon is needed, silent example is enough. In monasteries at dawn, someone gently strikes a piece of wood. It is not violence, it is invitation. Here, in the city, perhaps it is a kind timer, the light of a warm lamp, the sound of water. Translate that wooden strike into the language of your home, and when you hear it, remember, you are entering the day as one enters a sanctuary. Do not leave the muddy shoes of haste at the door of your mind. If you must face brutal days, pre-dawn shifts, responsibilities that do not wait, this teaching does not abandon you. It does not demand more time. It teaches you to inhabit the time you have. 1 minute of conscious breathing is worth more than 20 skimming headlines that rob you from within. 2 sips of water with gratitude are worth more than a whole cup of liquid anxiety. Small victories armor great battles. In this city, we sometimes call success that which leaves us empty. In the morning it is decided whether that will be your God. If you pray to haste, haste devours you. If you pray to presence, even success changes its name. It is no longer applause, it is coherence, and coherence gives an energy that cannot be bought. There is an image I like, a simple clay bowl with a crack. At dawn, you pour water into it. For a second, the crack looks like a wound, but precisely there the light reflects differently. That crack is you. Do not hide it. Fill it with presence. The 15 renunciations are not to manufacture a perfect life, but so that the light reflects better where it hurts. Close your eyes for a few seconds, even if you hear engines. Inhale, slowly counting to 4. Exhale, slowly counting to 6. Feel the weight of your feet. Recognize the heartbeat. Give thanks for one concrete thing. Offer your day to the lessening of harm. Open your eyes and do not seek a screen. Seek a piece of sky, even if cut between buildings. That blue rectangle is your signature with the day. At some point, mid-morning, you will remember these words. Perhaps in the elevator, perhaps in an email. You will reach for the phone and leave it 1 second more. You will return to the chair and straighten your spine. You will return to your mouth and soften the phrase. You will celebrate silently. Because today, without fanfare, you did something immense. You protected your energy from the small things that devour it. The practice continues. Tomorrow again, the enemy will wait at the door. It will bring new disguises. It will speak to you in a sweet voice. You will recognize it, and with the naturalness of one who no longer negotiates with their peace, you will walk past. You will not do it out of pride. You will do it out of compassion. A mind less dragged is a mind more available to serve. Thus this tale ends and your morning begins. Do not open those doors. Do not give away your day before you receive it. Remember, the city roars, yes, but your attention sings deeper. Let your waking not be an accident, but an art. 15 renunciations, a single intention, returning home. Share this teaching with those you love and those you forgot to love. Spread it through your invisible neighborhood of contacts like one who lights a lamp in distant windows. And if this path nourishes you, join us. Subscribe to keep carving together every dawn, the small monastery within the city. Because sometimes the greatest revolution fits in a cup of water and a minute of silence. And today, that revolution begins when you decide not to do this upon waking.